Hi everyone, my name is Christina, and today I'll be showing you how to make a budget-friendly meal made from long-lasting pantry staples. The idea for this recipe is that all of the ingredients are ingredients that aren't very expensive and that can last a long time in your cupboard, such as dry rice, broth, and various canned goods. The recipe we'll be learning how to make today is called taco soup. Before we get started, it's important to remember to wash your hands for at least 30 seconds in warm, soapy water and to dry them with a clean towel. All of the ingredients I've assembled here today are packaged or in cans, but you can also substitute fresh or frozen products. The first ingredient for this version of taco soup is chicken broth, and today I've chosen to use a gluten-free option, but any kind or flavor broth will work just fine. The second ingredient is diced tomatoes. I prefer to use Rotel because they often come with chilies already in the can. The next two ingredients are pinto beans and kidney beans, but you can substitute these with any other kind of beans you prefer, such as black beans. The next ingredient is corn, and it's important to note that I've been choosing low-sodium options for all of these ingredients because when you're working with canned foods, it's easy to rack up the amount of salt that goes into a recipe rather quickly. One of the last ingredients is enchilada sauce. I've chosen to use a green chili sauce today, but you could also use red. This isn't an essential ingredient, but it does add a lot of flavor and spice to the final product. The last ingredient is rice. Today we'll be using whole grain brown rice because it is the healthier option and it will survive longer in the soup. I'll be preparing this recipe in a crock pot, but you could also easily make this in a pot on the stove. You want to start by turning your crock pot onto low. Now we can get into preparing the food. If you decide to add any meat or fresh vegetables, this would be a good time to rinse them off. But since we're just using pantry staples today, we'll just wipe down the tops of the cans before opening them. This is important because cans can become dirty during the shipping process or simply become dusty as they sit in the cupboard. After the cans are open, some of them can be drained to reduce the amount of sodium that goes into the soup. This isn't a necessary step, but it does help with the overall look and flavor of the dish. The cans I've chosen to drain today include the corn and both of the cans of beans. Next we'll be measuring the rice. We want a half a cup of dry brown rice, and be sure to use dry measuring cups so you get precise measurements, because you will end up with 2 times the amount of dry rice that you've measured. Now you can add all of your ingredients into the pot. It doesn't matter what order they go in, but be sure you cover the pot so that you can cook your soup on low for 4 to 6 hours or 2 to 3 hours on high. The final step is to add in any spices that you'd like. You could add just a packet of taco seasoning, but to reduce the sodium amount you could make your own. Today I've chosen to use onion powder, chili powder, cilantro, oregano, paprika, and garlic salt. But you can add anything to taste. That concludes this recipe for taco soup. There are a lot of possible modifications that could be made, such as substituting different kinds of rice, broth, and vegetables, or adding in meats for some more protein. You could also add in milk, sour cream, or cheese to make it creamier, or chilies and peppers to make it spicier. There are also a lot of garnishes that could be used to make it more interesting, such as cheese and sour cream, green onions, or tortilla strips. Thanks for watching this episode of Cats Can Cook, and have fun creating something new.